Hello, you guys. I'm back inside of the ranting shop, and I wanted to speak on the other couples of the Ultimatum South Africa because today is the actual day of the reunion, and a lot of people have already seen it, and a lot of people are saying that it's a disappointment. So, I want people to lower your standards when you're watching the Ultimatum South Africa because oftentimes in general when Netflix have their reunion shows, it seldom holds people accountable the way you want them to be held accountable, because it's like a year has passed. I guess the producers and whoever are sympathetic towards them because they've pleaded, oh, I've changed, I've had a baby, I've done this. So it's like a whole new different ball game. And so with that, they soften their approach on the people that were problematic on the season, and I think they do that in this particular episode. So don't expect to watch the reunion and feel like there's a sense of vindication going to take place, because I don't think that's the case. Based on other people's comments, I haven't watched it. But let's talk about throughout the season. This is coming really late, but I haven't talked about 4 more couples as yet, or is it 3 more couples? We have Aiden and Courtney, the white couple, the unproblematic couple. We have Kanya and Enteko, which was extremely problematic. And then we have Tabby and Genesis. Now, firstly, let's go into Tabby and Genesis. Now, we all know that Tabby decided to go with Lindile because her initial choice of Aiden was not reciprocated by him. He decided to go with Lebo instead, and I think he did it because he felt a sense of compassion for Lebo, and he just wanted to be there for her in that situation. So she ended up going with Lindile. Lindile is Sizekele's boyfriend, and we have Genesis, who decided to go with Courtney, who is Aiden's girlfriend, right? So there's a little bit of an entanglement with that group, so I'm gonna deal with them. So rewatching the season and realizing that, hey, Tabby is a little bit mean to Sizekele, I came to understand that, of course, Tabby would be mean to Sizekele because Tabby had the child marriage with Lindile. Lindile is Sizekele's boyfriend, right? So she mentioned that whenever Sizekele and Enteko would go outside and do these big displays of affection, it would bother Lindile, and it would in turn affect Tabby bonding with Lindile. So she blamed Sizekele for that because, yeah, you could be affectionate with your trial husband, but don't do it in front of all of us because it affects our partner. Well, it affects the person we want to build a new relationship with, right? That's fair. But I did sense that there was a bit of vitriol there because even after the trial marriage ended and Tabby went to give Lindile a gift and dropped it at the house, and Sizekele came in the house and saw the gift and felt disrespected by it, which I do understand, and she went and brought the gift back to Tabby. I understand that there was a little bit of vitriol there because it's like, how dare you take the gift I gave to my trial husband and send it back to me? That's disrespectful. But then I did understand where Sizekele was coming from because, okay, we're done with the trial marriage. We're back with our partners. I'm trying to reconnect with my partner. What are you doing by sending him a gift? You're literally disrupting me reconnecting with my partner. And I cannot say that what Sizekele did I wouldn't do, but what I was saying in that instance was I wish Sizekele paid attention more to Lindile's actions and made her judgment based on what he did as opposed to doing it for him. Because in that scenario, you don't get to see Lindile. You don't get to watch his actions. You don't get to make judgments based on what he's actually doing. Right? Because you're rushing ahead of everything and doing it for him. Remember, Sizekele had the problem. So Sizekele brought the gift back. Lindile didn't have a problem with the gift. That's why he was stalling so much and didn't want to send it back. Because he low-key did want the gift, right? So I wish Sizekele would have just watched his behavior and made her judgment based on that. And she didn't. So anyways, let's go back to Tabby and Genesis. So their issue was essentially that they've been together so long, I believe 7 years, no proposal, no marriage in sight, which kind of annoyed Tabby because it's like, at this point, what am I doing in this relationship? Yeah, I love you and everything like that, but you make priority for things that you really want, like material things, but not for marriage. And to me, that's crazy because we've been together for so long. What's the stalling? Like, what's keeping this from happening, right? So, when Tabby brought Lindile to her friends, of course, their friends were skeptical and they were like, I don't know about this guy. We don't know him. We don't even know if his intentions are really pure because, yes, he proposed to Sizekele in a relatively close amount of time, but why? Did he do that to come onto this show? Like, what was his purpose? Because it's coming across very fishy that he proposed to her in such a short period of time. And that led me to believe some other things about Lindile. We could talk about that later. But their friends were very skeptical. They were like, yeah, we are used to her being with Genesis. Like, yeah, we see a connection with you two, but we're more comfortable with Genesis, so to speak. Lindile is a kind of guy, like, he's very quiet. He's very to himself. It's easy for you to forget that he's in the room. Even if he's probably the biggest guy in the room, you'd probably forget him because he's so quiet and laid back and, you know, that type of personality. But I must say that Tabby and Lindile did connect a lot. And I'm happy that they did get a connection. At least they got to experience things their partner did not typically do. Like, for example, Tabby would say, oh, he cleans up, he does this, he does that, and Genesis doesn't do these things, so she appreciates that Lindile does it. And I think Lindile appreciated that Tabby kind of took him out of his comfort zone and was willing to provide him what he wanted, which is, I guess marriage, which Sizekele was not ready for, which is completely understandable when you consider that it's only been 6 months. Like, what is the rush, you know? So they bonded. Lindile struggled. One thing that irritated me for Lindile is, as much as, yes, you want to be inside of this experiment 100%, when you saw Sizekele break down when her choice was rejected, because I think her initial choice was, I believe Genesis was her initial choice, and then Genesis decided to go with Courtney instead, and it bothered her. And instead of Lindile going to console his girlfriend, because yeah, you guys are broken up in quotation marks, but not really, at least go and, like, you know, show that you sympathize with her and stuff like that. He never even lifted a muscle. He was like, as far as I'm concerned, me and her are broken up. It almost seemed like Lindile was annoyed with Sizekele, irritated by her and all these sorts of things. So I don't know. And I think it showed when they got back together, but then again, I keep veering off into other couples. So with Genesis, I feel as if Genesis just wasn't sure of Tabby. He wasn't ready and he wasn't sure. And men tend to do these things where they stay in relationships with women for a long period of time, and the moment they jump into another relationship, they're ready to marry in 2.5 seconds. That's what the saying goes: when a guy wants to, he will, And, Genesis decided for some weird reason to go with Courtney. And that really shocked me because, I feel at some point very early on in the process, I felt like Sizekele and Tabby looked similar. So I was like, that makes sense if Genesis goes for Sizekele, but he did not. He did Courtney instead for some reason. And a lot of people feel like he did Courtney because he wanted to do something new, he wanted to do something different, and I guess he assumed he would be able to have the full experience with Courtney. And to his dismay, they struggled a lot with intimacy, they struggled a lot with, you know, forming a bond like the other couples were doing, being intimate, touching, kissing. They had issues there because I don't think she was comfortable with doing that with Genesis. To be honest, I don't think Courtney is a very open individual, and as her boyfriend Aiden says, it takes a lot to open up, for her to open up to people. So with that being said, it didn't surprise me that she was okay with Genesis, but she still wasn't comfortable enough to have him touch her and kiss her and all these types of things. And I completely kind of agree with Courtney in a sense. Like, yeah, you're cool, but not romantic cool. You're friend cool. So I don't want you touching on me and doing all these kinds of things. So Genesis was very frustrated throughout the process because he's seeing Tabby connect with Lindley in a way that he cannot connect with Courtney. So there's some jealousy there. There's some longing for his woman because what he thought he was gonna get with Courtney, he didn't. And so what you'll find is that when couples join together and they don't really have chemistry, or they're not the best match for each other, they end up wanting their partner back. But then the process has to go on and she has to continue connecting with Lindley. So Genesis' whole thing with Courtney was begging her to open up. And it was kind of annoying because he kept saying the same things over and over and over again. Open up, open up. She's not opening up. Why isn't she opening up? Well, it's simple. She wasn't comfortable. I mean, you made a choice. You chose her. You didn't have to. So now deal with what you have to deal with. So I guess that made it super difficult for Genesis to see Lindley and Tabby have such a strong connection, even to the point where when they went back to their normal partners, Tabby was like, I'm gonna send Lindley a gift. Lindley has sent me a gift. I don't want you to feel a way that I didn't send you a gift, but I didn't bring you any gifts, right? Something about it's tough watching a man treat your woman the way you should be treating her, right? And the good thing about this show is that it forces guys and girls, men and women, to consider their partners more and to appreciate them more. Because sometimes when you see your partner in your face 24/7, you feel like they're not going anywhere. You take them for granted, right? But when you see them in close proximity with somebody else, right, it changes you. It does something to you that makes you want that person back, it lights a match under you. Like, this is what I've been missing. Look at how she's making this other guy so happy. She makes me happy, but I don't appreciate her. And I guess that's a blessing of the show, so to speak. So then when they got back together, I felt like there was a disconnect there because she haven't had a newly fresh bond with Lindley, and Lindley is telling Sizekele, oh, I've been intimate with her, but I don't think he meant sex. I think when he said intimate, I think maybe they've kissed, but I don't think sex is what they meant. Because I realized whenever they said the word intimate, it never meant sex. It always meant kissing or touching. That's also being intimate. But I think Americans think being intimate is sexual. And it doesn't have to be. It could be that we touched, we kissed, we hugged, we cuddled. Just that, So they get back together. Genesis is attempting to, rebond and connect with his partner more because he had such a horrible experience. Not a horrible experience, but an anti-climatic experience with Courtney. It was boring. It was meh. It wasn't exciting, Even if they did kiss on that very last night together, but that was meh. That was like, So that happened, and he ended up proposing to her, giving her a letter. Actually, he never verbally proposed. He gave her a letter with the proposal written on it, and she read it out. And it's creative, but I prefer if he had done a verbal proposal, because then, to me, that speaks more to that's something you want to do. You said it, that's what you want to do. When you write it down and you have her read it, it's almost as if, is this even real? If we have a fight, are you gonna say that this was written so it wasn't valid? Are you gonna say you read it to me, I didn't say it? Like, what is this? Like, I'm confused by the proposal. I think I saw it as a red flag, but I don't think other people did, but I did. Because why it has to be written? Why can't you verbalize the proposal? It's typically what people do. Written is like meh. I can't hear it from you. I don't hear it in your voice. I'm having to read it. That's crazy. And he also sent a letter asking her family permission. And there's a bride price and all these things they do in South Africa. So it was cute, but I was expecting more from him. It just seemed like, to me, Genesis wanted to keep Tabby because he saw how happy she made another man, as opposed to keeping her because he wanted her. I feel like he felt rushed, and so he did it, as opposed to, I genuinely want to do this now. Anyways, let's move on to Sizekile and Lindile. As I said, Sizekile wanted Genesis. Genesis chose Courtney. So Sizekile ended up with Nkateko. Nkateko is Kanya's boyfriend, right? The moment Sizekile ended up with Kanya's boyfriend, Kanya was gonna make whoever ended up with her boyfriend a problem. Whoever, she was gonna make them a problem. And it happened to be Sizekile. So that happened. That wasn't either of their original choices, so I think they were not sure how everything would work, but he ended up embracing the experience. She ended up embracing the experience, to the extent where there was a lot of physical affections done in front of people, public displays of affection, which made other people uncomfortable. It kind of put a rift between Sizekile and Lindile, because when they got back together, Lindile felt as if it was disrespectful of Sizekile to express affection for another man in front of him. And in my mind, it was hypocritical of Lindile to criticize her for that, because he was doing the exact same thing but behind closed doors. It's almost as if Lindile wanted kudos for doing it behind closed doors. At the end of the day, whether you do it behind closed doors or do it in front of your partner's face, you still did it. Like, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? You did it regardless. So he caught himself. He was like, I'm being unreasonable. And then he slowly, I guess, came back to his senses, because he was being really stupid at some point, which is understandable. You don't want to see your partner with another man, but that is the experiment you guys signed up for. Whether you choose to do it behind closed doors to not hurt Sizekile's feelings, or whether you choose to do it in front of Lindile because you're embracing the experience, nobody decided, okay, this is the rule and you guys just decided to come on this show and do an experience. So however you guys choose to do it was however you guys saw fit. So for you to hold grudges because both of you decided to do similar things was crazy to me. Anyways, he started having feelings for Tabby, and I didn't see it coming, to be honest, because Lindley, his face doesn't really show much emotion. Unless he says it, you really don't know how he feels. So when he got that close to Tabby, it shocked me. I was surprised. But he was still upset with Sizekele because how dare you flaunt your stuff with Nkateko in front of my face. And I was like, okay, you hypocrite, can you stop? Anyways, eventually they went on a proposal day. They had a bit of issues. She went back on a date with Nkateko and they were speaking about feelings. She still had feelings for him, which is natural. And he was like, okay, what if this experience doesn't go my way and it doesn't go your way? Will you be willing to date outside of this? And people saw that as a red flag. They was like, no, you're not going to use Sizekele as your backup plan. But I didn't necessarily see it as a bad thing because I don't think Kanye is a very good partner for anybody. So I was like, well, if you guys don't work, I guess it would be good because you guys had such great chemistry in the thing. And some people were saying Nkateko was doing things to piss Kanye off. And I must agree that perhaps he was doing things to get her riled up because he knows her temper and he knows how she is. So I wouldn't be shocked. And what really pissed me off is with Nkateko is Sizekele is basically telling him Kanye is disrespectful. She said, I'm fast and you want to sleep with me because of this and that. So she's confronting Nkateko, which is the right person to confront because she's saying these things about you. Is it true? That's literally all she was saying. Like, and also she's disrespectful to me. This man decided, okay, let's go and confront her. Goes with Sizekele, drops Sizekele to in front of Kenya's house and leaves. And Sizekele is torn to bits by Kanye because Kanye is already jealous because Sizekele is with her man. But you coming to bring Sizekele to me and you leaving? She tore into Sizekele so badly. And everybody was like, oh, well, she told Sizekele not to sit down. And Sizekele broke her boundary and sat down. So I'm not shocked or neither am I upset that she reacted to Sizekele in the way that she did. And I'm like, are people okay? Are people okay? Like, that was so disrespectful. And to me, there's no excuses for it. And a lot of Kanye's upset with Sizekele was projection. Like, and maybe some of it is her knowing Nkateko too, because she might know that Nkateko likes a particular body type and Sizekele is not the body type he goes for. Sizekele is not the look he goes for. So maybe that's why she was like telling Sizekele that she's fat and she's a fatty boom boom and she's ghetto or whatever she was saying. All these American slang words. And I think a lot of it is her knowing Nkateko and also her projecting onto Sizekele because she's so jealous. Like, I have to hurt her. How dare she have a good time with my man, you know? Kind of thing. So Sizekele goes to Nkateko and she's so upset. Like, she's mean. She did this and she did that and she said this. Why did you leave me there and you know her? Why did you leave me? And she was so distraught and I was so sorry for her. And Nkateko didn't really have anything logical to really say in that moment other than, oh, if I stayed it would have been about me. If I stayed it would have been about me. That's so misleading because you said it would have been a united front. Why would you leave her there and leave? Leave her there and go knowing Kanye is a shark and she would attack this girl and tear her to pieces. Anyways, to me, that showed a lot about Nkateko's character. Lacking integrity. Anyways, he knows how to present a very good front, but I don't think that's genuinely the type of person he is. Because I don't think any man that has great values and is a genuine good person would want to marry somebody like Kanye. No way. There has to be some demonic spirit in you to attract that type of person. So, anyways, she ended up forgiving him really quickly, and I guess it bonded them even further, I guess. But for me, I would have looked at Nketeko a different type of way. Like, there's no way we would have continued being as close as we continued to be with that level of disrespect, knowing. And then he goes to Kanya. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go to her. Goes to Kanya. Kanya tears him a new one, a new a-hole, tells him to get out of her room, go outside. He follows like a little wounded puppy, and he ends up going back because it wasn't even making sense that he even went there. You know, when Kanya's upset, you can't speak to her. So why even go there? And you're not a masculine alpha man. You're a very, very much a beta man. So of course you're not gonna be able to contend with that type of energy that she was, delivering to you. Anyway, so they had a really good coupling except for Kanya. Kanya kind of ruined everything. I don't know, it was horrible to watch Ezekiel get hurt in that way. But when her and Lindile ended up getting back together, the proposal occurred. She accepted, to my surprise. He proposed, to my surprise as well. I was like, huh? Weren't you just saying that you were so in love with Tabby? Now you're proposing to Sizekele? Okay, fine. So that's that. And I think they're still together because Sizekele posted a picture on her platform with her and Lindile, I think prior to their reunion, wearing matching outfits, and it seems like they're still together. Now, let's go on to the final couple, Kanya and Nketeko. Of course, we know that Nketeko had no choice but to go with Sizekele, and I think Kanya went with her first choice, Isaac. Now, initially, of course, Kanya and Isaac got along so well. And then, afterwards, everything went downhill. It became a situation of gender roles, and he thinks women should do this, and she thinks, no, men should do that. And so they clashed in regards to these gender roles. And so everything he initially started doing, like washing dishes, cleaning the house, because of course you want to impress your new partner, it wasn't sustainable, because he felt like at some point she was purposely leaving the dishes in the sink for him to wash. And he felt like, yeah, I initiated the washing the dishes, but you're pushing it. And so they had this huge fight about washing dishes. And one thing you'd find with Kanye is that whenever there's conflict, she will say that it's your problem, and why are you projecting your issues onto her? She did it with Ruth, and look, she did it with Isaac. So she likes to gaslight. She's very good at gaslighting. She makes the issue you and not her. She was basically repeating to Isaac, why are you making me the issue here? You're the one that decided to be a dishwasher. So yeah, I left dishes in the sink, but you're the dishwasher. You decided to take that job. So even though he just came from work, he's hungry, there's dishes in the sink, she's in the bed, couldn't care less. She's basically like, yeah, there's dishes in the sink, and he's like, maybe you should wash. She's like, how are you telling me to wash? Aren't you the one that decided to be the designated dishwasher? So this woman, her way she thinks is crazy to me. And then they fell apart from that moment on. Prior to that, they were making out, deep kissing and all of that. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then even to the point where they both saw each other naked and all these things, and it's like, wow, are we serious right now? He was so into Kanye's looks that he decided, you know what, I'm gonna introduce her to my friends. I barely know this woman for a week, but let me introduce her to my friends. I want to impress my friends with this pretty woman, right? Whereas he's known, what's her name, Ruth, for how many years, and I've never let her even see one of his cousins. So that speaks a lot to pretty privilege and what happens when you're attractive. You see how quickly he let his friends see her? That's based on pretty privilege. Nothing but pretty privilege. But when it came to Ruth, it was this thing of, oh, I only know her for 8 months. And in my culture, you have to be serious and married to have your partner see your family. All of that went down the drain the moment he let Kanye see his family. All of that was just talking. That was just talk. Because the actions didn't match the talk. You only have these rules for Ruth because you don't really like Ruth. You're not sure of Ruth. But all of that went away because of Kanye's looks. It's crazy to me. So you see when people say, when men want to, they will. That's a perfect example, right? When he want to show off, he will. If he doesn't want to show you off, if he's not proud of you or thinks you're a certain way, I guess he doesn't want to show you off, I guess. So that happened. And that's why Ruth was so disrespected. Like, okay, you have an issue with me, but you know me for so long. I've never seen your family. You just met Kanye. She's already seen your family. And the problem I have with him is he never addressed it. He never stated why. Why? He kept saying, oh, there's something about Ruth. There's something about Ruth. And then the moment she slipped up, he used that as the something about Ruth that I'm not sure of. But I'm curious to know if she hadn't slipped up, what would he say? What would be the issue at that point? Either way, they were not compatible. So to watch Isaac suffer with Kanye as a partner was this very sweet vindication that I was feeling. Like, great, you thought looks were gonna get you a smooth ride? Absolutely not. So that happened. And initially Kanye is like, oh, we saw each other naked, and Ruth is like, oh, okay, I guess. And that was perfect ammunition, because when the girl spoke, she was basically telling Ruth, like, isn't it weird you sleeping with a stranger? And Ruth threw it back on her, like, isn't it weird showing a stranger your naked body? I agree. It was a great comeback, to be honest. Like, how dare you criticize me when it's not like you went as far as sex, but you did something similar. You showed a stranger your body. Like, you don't even know this guy. Y'all were deep tongue kissing and doing other things that we probably are not even privy to, right? And because I slept with somebody, I guess it's up for me. I did the worst crime ever in the world. And then even with their argument, you saw Kanye throwing it back on Ruth, like, it's not my problem you went and slept with people. Don't come and project on me. And it's really nothing to do with that. It was more so, you told me, I tell you because I wanted to sleep with him, and you're using it as a weapon against me, kind of thing. So anyways, so that happened. Their happy times didn't last very long. I think at some point he saw as a nuisance. He didn't like her that much. Not washing the dishes, not seeing her role as a woman as like a traditional thing, her being combative, argumentative, aggressive, all of those qualities turned Isaac all the way off, even to the point where the day of the dishes fight, he was hungry because she didn't cook. Now, I'm not saying she had to cook, but at least be considerate and not leave dishes in the sink, but he went to Lindley and Tabby's house, and he's telling Lindley, this woman's this and she's that, and she wants to be the table, and she wants to do all these things, and she's disrespectful, and all Lindley does is laugh. And Isaac goes to Lebo. Oh, Lebo, I should have chosen you. Kanye is this and Kanye is that. And Lebo is like, well, I could have told you that, but since you're so blinded by beauty, you eventually had to learn by yourself. You had to learn on your own, because nothing I could have said would have swayed you at that moment. So that ended up happening. She goes back to Nkateko, upset, mad at him, because how dare him How dare he have a good experience with Sizekele? How dare him be happy and giggly with Sizekele? She was upset. And she's like, I don't even like him. Why is he here? And she throws wine on this man while he's on the bed because she's wanting him to get off the bed. And so he eventually gets off, hurls a few insults. She hurls a few insults. Then eventually she warms back up to him. Everything is hunky-dory. They are talking about the proposals and all these things. And you could tell that he wasn't going to propose. You could just tell. But he was never gonna admit that to her because he's a little bit of a pussycat. But anyways, they ended up at the proposal stage and she's just talking, going around circles. He eventually tells her, I'm gonna give you a promise ring. She's giggling at first, then she's upset. Promise ring? That's not what this is about. I've already given you time to decide if you want to marry me or not, and you're giving me promise ring and you're pushing the deadline further along. He's like, absolutely. She's like, absolutely not. I'm not having it. I'm not gonna make men play in my face like this ever again. She goes on her business. Now, what I do appreciate about Kanya is that she stands on business. Well, at least on the show, she stood on business. She didn't care if you liked her or not. She had an opinion, and that is what it was. You cannot sway her here or there. This is her opinion, and this is what it is. I have to admire her on that. Not admire her, but I have to give her props for standing on business. You know, she never tried to hide who she was. I mean, when push comes to shove, she's gonna give you her opinion. It's either you like it or you don't. And a lot of people didn't like her opinions. What I do like about the other women was that they didn't really engage her in her gossip. They would listen, but did not really engage. But what I noticed is a lot of them were afraid to confront her, except for Ruth. Ruth was like, if you come for me, I'm coming for you. And the funniest moment was that when that argument took place and Ruth is talking to Isaac at home, and she's like, I had to put Kanya in her place because she was disrespectful, talking about I slept with people and I said this, and Isaac was like shocked because, you know, nobody has the guts to really speak up to Kanya. And initially Ruth is thinking that Isaac thinks it's problematic, but then Isaac tells her, no, it's good, and they both laugh and they bond a bit on that. So and Kateko did promise ring and Kanya wasn't having it, and Kateko was like, okay. And I think he was gonna use that same promise ring to propose to her. I hope that's not what he was trying to do. I really do hope that is not what he was trying to do, but I feel as if that is what he was trying to do. If so, then you get what you get in Kateko. You get what you get, because you can't give this woman a promise ring and then because she's upset want to change it into an actual proposal ring. Are you crazy? And that just further proves that Nketeko is at her beck and call. Like, whatever she wants, he'll do. If she wants him to stand on or sit on or lie on train tracks to prove his love, he would do that. And that's crazy to me. So Kanya is, in fact, she was pregnant and she has given birth. She's spoken about solo traveling with her baby and having alone time with her baby. Do I think she's with the child's father? No. Do I feel like that child is Nketeko's child? Yes. Although married for 10 years, doesn't think so. After watching the reunion, I could let you guys know if I was wrong or if I was right, but I think that's Nketeko's child. I might be wrong though. We will see. I don't think she's married, because on the show she did say that she's not having a baby unless it's within a marriage. So this is the first place where I don't think she stood on her word. I think she got pregnant, but she wasn't married yet or isn't married. But anyways, I'm happy for her. Everybody had a lot of smoke for her. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about the rest of the group. And you know, I'm forgetting Aiden and Courtney. There's not much to say about them besides they were kind of like the buffer of the group, the parents of the group, so to speak, there to drop valuable insight into people and things, but not really memorable. They're very forgettable. Aiden was very nice, very sweet, very patient to Lebo. He was there for her. He tried to help her, but she wasn't ready to see the truth at that moment. I mean, that's the best you could do. You see on stage that in a clip, you see Aiden clapping for Lebo when Lebo tells us the story after the show that she got back together with Nola, but it didn't work out, and she broke up with Nola on TV. Aiden is still cheering for her. Aiden still has her back. I think Aiden has a soft spot for Lebo, but not romantic. We later found out that the biggest issue with Courtney and Aiden is Courtney didn't think Aiden could be serious, and she thought that Aiden wasn't ready for marriage, and we heard that with the parents, and he didn't have a job at that moment, and maybe perhaps his parents did coddle him, and so Courtney felt like he wasn't ready for the next step, but he made himself ready, and I hope he's found employment since then. But they proposed, she accepted, she also gave him a ring, which I thought was very thoughtful, and that was cute. There's not much for me to say about that particular couple, except I hope that Aiden has found a job. And beyond that, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.